Hello everyone, and welcome back to another build diary for the Cold Snap of Power Occultist. I've been working on trying to get some upgrades for the build over the past couple of days, trying to craft a lot of things with the corpse crafting mechanic for Necropolis, trying to keep essences and harvest going, trying to reroll things with that. I've been getting back into delving with for a bit with a lot of fossil crafting, just trying to find a whole bunch of upgrades here and there. I can say that after about a week and a half of trying to craft some upgrades, I have made some progress at the very least. The gear has improved and the build is feeling a lot better than it was ever before, so things are going well. One of the main things that I wanted to craft was my endgame weapon, a +2 rune dagger. It is one of my favorite crafts to make in an SSF kind of environment, since it's usually pretty doable to find the base for this item, even in SSF. And what you're looking for is a fractured suffix on a rune dagger. I personally prefer critical strike chance for spells, and thankfully it's a pretty common mod, so it usually doesn't take too long to find on a rune dagger somewhere. It specifically has to be a rune dagger because of the crafts. And what you want to do is, after you get your fractured suffix, you are going to alt spam until you hit +1 to all spell skill gems, the Magister roll, and then you want to regal. If this hits a prefix, you simply try to annul it and hope that it keeps the +1. If it hits a suffix, the Regal Orb, then you would prefixes cannot be changed in Scour, giving you a clean rare item with just the Fractured Suffix mod and a +1 to all spell skill gems. At this point, you're going to need a couple of divines, and you are going to multi-mod, cannot roll attack mods, and you're going to craft cold damage to spells as well. This is going to look a little bit weird, but what you're going to do next is farm up some harvest, hopefully get a harvest boss, and get the crystallized blossom that you're going to need. And then you're going to harvest, add, remove cold. This has a 75% chance of removing any of the other mods and not removing the +1 to all spell skill gems. So 25% chance to remove the skill gems, at which point you'd have to start over again, but a 75% chance to succeed and not remove that. It can then remove any of the other mods, like the multi-mod, the cold damage to spells, the cannot roll attack mods, and then it's going to remove that and add a cold mod. However, the only cold mod it can add, because of the fact we've already added cold damage to spells, is now going to be +1 to cold spell skill gems. At which point you'd have a +2 rune dagger with fractured suffixes. You would then go to the crafting bench, remove the crafted mods, and you would multi-mod spell damage and cast speed onto it. And then you end up with a dagger looking something like this. It'll take a couple of divines to make. It might even require like 2 to 3 harvest attempts if you're unlucky and you hit the 25% chance to remove the +1 to all spell skill gems. But if you can get this done, it is a very good weapon to make, especially in an SSF kind of environment where divines aren't the most useful thing out there. It can be very powerful to have a weapon like this. It's one of my favorite crafts to make, to spend a bit of time on. The only thing is it will take a couple of thousand alterations. I think it's about 2,000 alterations on average to hit +1 all spell skill gems. It took me about 3,500 this league. That wasn't very fun, but if you have the time for it, it can be a very good thing to craft. Other than the weapon, I've also made a new shield with a lot of crit chance for spells on it. It actually came like this fractured with tier 1 defense mods. It even came with some Ellie resistance. That's all very good. And an open suffix, of course, to craft double damage while focused. I wanted to use this as sort of a crafting base, but wanted to see if I could roll something useful, and it rolled really nicely. So I'm very happy with that. I don't have to worry about this anymore. The shield is kind of done. The implicit will also help with maintaining 100% spell suppress, which is very good, and achieving that. It even gives you a bunch of evasion and energy shields. It's not that much energy shield loss compared to a titanium spirit shield, but the extra evasion, considering our only real source of evasion is the shield, some gloves and boots a little bit, and then grace, of course. The Supreme Spike Shield actually helps quite a bit when it comes to evasion stats, so a very nice shield to have, and I'm honestly very tempted to just keep this all the way into endgame. It's that good for us. I also tried to craft another Redeemer belt, just like I did in the last episode. This one only had 1 prefix even, so it had energy shield, some resistance, a lot of strength, which we need for the build as well. I crafted % damage on it and then tried to slam either cold damage or damage against chilled enemies. However, sadly, we hit the third option again, evasion rating percentage, so we'll have to live with that, and we'll have to try this again in the future if I get another Redeemer orb. There's also another piece of technology that I wanted to talk about. That is the Vertex technology. The Vertex is a helmet that drops from Uber.Zeri. Not the most accessible very early on in the league, but usually within a couple of days it's doable to get one of these pretty early on if you really wanted to. And the main benefit from the Vertex is it's a really good helmet for any CI builds, as not only is it just a solid defensive helmet, but because of the mana cost reduction for Socketed Gems, this allows you to run a Divine Blessing as a CI build. If you combine that line of the 50% mana cost reduction for Socketed Gems, and combine that with an Inspiration and one or two other pieces of mana cost reduction percentage, you could get some on the passive tree, you could get it on like ring prefixes, things like that, you can get 100% reduced mana cost for your Divine Blessing, allowing you to basically run an extra offensive aura for free. If you combine this with some of the more powerful Watcher's Eyes that you can find, you can make a really powerful helmet option for damage. A private league member of mine found a very powerful 2-stat Hatred Watcher's Eye as well, and I have honestly been very tempted to run it after he offered to give it to me. Combined with the Hatred itself, this would give me at least 50% more damage to the build, instantly adding like 2.5 close to 3 million DPS already. That said, the downsides for it is that you'd be giving up on lots of resistances, you'd be giving up on some energy shields, and most importantly for me, you'd be giving up on the Fizz taken as implicits. So Fizz taken as Chaos from a Eldritch implicit, the physical taken as fire damage from a Corel prefix craft, things like that. I want to become tankier, as while I did run some tier 17s and it went decently comfortably, my main weakness in the build at the moment is still physical damage taken. That's the main pain point for survival, and the helmet is a very good way to deal with some of that. The Vertex gives you a lot more damage, but you'd be giving up on some defense. You would be gaining some evasion in return, sure, but I still don't know if it's going to be worth it in the long run. However, if you really want to squeeze out more damage in the build, going with a Vertex plus a Divine Blessing is a very good option indeed. Overall though, I've made a good few upgrades the past couple of days, but not as many as I was hoping for personally. The crafting process has been pretty unlucky on my end, as I mentioned before. I just spent a lot of time crafting with essences, alterations on the rune dagger, fossils, corpse crafting, and most of the time my crafts were resulting in duds. I wasn't really getting anywhere, and I spent a good few days just running the same kind of content over and over again, trying to power farm essences, fossils, etc., and not really getting anywhere. That can happen, it is what it is, but it took a couple of extra days to really get somewhere to make an upgrade video. I was hoping to do a lot more tier 17s by now, but I really felt like I wanted to get some more upgrades into the build before attempting some more of them at the very least. I did get those upgrades, they're now finished. However, at this point in time, the private league has just come to an end as well, and I have migrated over to trade league. So instead what I'll be doing is I'll probably be liquidating some of the stuff that I have in my stash, trying to get myself some upgrades in trade league and continue on from there. At which point then I will try to transition into more tier 17 farming and eventually trying to take on some Ubers at the very least. I have my eye on a good few upgrades that can come easily in trade league. A Brandus Pack Jewel, a replica Dragonfang Flight, a few other things here and there that I'll hopefully have a video on in a couple of days time once I've actually made some money. I'm probably going to be running something like Expedition, probably Ritual. Should be pretty good. I don't think making money in PoE is that difficult, so just as long as you keep playing, you'll earn money eventually, right? So, but yeah, this is sort of where the private league section of the build diaries will end, as I've mostly self-crafted most of the things here and there. I've had help, of course, from some private league members, where we swap essences with each other, we help each other with corpses and things like that. But at this point, I think most of the self-crafting is done. I did want to craft a better helmet and a better chest piece at one point to make space for Corel implicits and the Gravicius craft as well on a chest piece. We'll see how far I get with that, as honestly, with the next few upgrades that I have in mind, I'm probably going to be running a few more unique items here and there, so we'll see how that goes. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this quick build update video. Let me know what you think, and I hope to see you in the next one. And until then, peace.